Oh, Steam is a funny place, man. On one hand, you got your $60 blockbusters, you got your free-to-play games, you got your anime porn. Anyway, the most interesting of which, and the ones I like to talk about the most, are indie games. You never quite know what you're going to get with them. Unity Engine is a great thing. It's made a lot of great games in the past, and it's made a lot of shit. When it comes to your good games, and your absolute shit, and your digital homicide, you got right in the middle here, or like left middle, whatever you want to call it. You got those games that are really difficult to describe. Those games that are not easy to talk about in the span of 10 or so minutes. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where we talk about Giraffe Town. So Samir Khatib made a new game. You don't remember Samir Khatib? Yeah, he's the potato thriller guy. Ah, now you remember, don't you? Don't pretend like you did. So he made a new game. It's called Giraffe Town. And it's really good. Okay. It's not amazing by any standards, but I'll tell you what, it's pretty darn, what's the word? Exceptional, I'd say. Without further ado, let's start playing, and I'll show you a little bit. This should be fun.
Things aren't that simple. I should done on all these hoes every single time. I'ma throw up big faces in a single song. Why the fuck these hoes would want to know my phone?
I was pleasantly surprised by Giraffe Town. I'll admit, I was really caught off guard when Samir sent me a key for this game. It was pretty tough against PT, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was quirky and awkward, but the worst part of it was that it was very half-assed feeling. Regardless, I still completed it, and in its ending sequence, he thanks you personally for completing it. It's also clear from the description of Giraffe Town that this game means a lot to him, and he's put a ton of work into it. Damn, Samir, you have a lot of balls giving me a free copy. But it also says you have a ton of confidence in what you made. That is something I respect hugely, given the amount of shithead indie developers on Steam who I'm not going to name out of fear of feeling intense sickness. No matter what I or anyone else might say, I think Samir is a smart kid who can actually take criticism, and is obviously extremely talented. I can tell you love what you do, and I hope you never give up. That being said, I'm about to rip this game 700 new assholes. Let's start out with the positives. The story is definitely the strongest part of the game. I'm really surprised that Samir was able to keep a very consistent tone. My biggest problem with PT's story was its inconsistent tone. That is mostly fixed here. There's still some dumb moments, like when Giraffe was freezing to death and Tunnels, the time-traveling clown, no, I'm not joking, decides to give him an ice cream. Yeah, give someone dying of hypothermia some ice cream, that'll make things better. Also, when Giraffe meets love, it seems really out of character for him to be that dumb. Don't worry, we'll talk about that later. Spoiler alert. Speaking of Giraffe, I like him as a main character. He's flawed and awkward, but is still very relatable. I felt bad for him when he lost the kid's soccer ball, when he was manically depressed sitting on the couch, when he got hit by the bus, and worst of all, when he got kicked in the nards. He really does make this whole game work. I also like Tunnels the Clown. He's a total psychopath, but still very funny and likable. The big dog was definitely the weirdest character. I can't quite figure him out. It's hard to put a finger on him. He's like aggressive and angry, but then he's like inspirational and fatherly. but he's a sagely intelligent figure coping with the end of the world in his diary. I don't get him at all. He's the weirdest one out of all of this, I'll tell you that much. To finish off my positives, the story has improved tremendously. The characters are great, and overall it feels more like a completed game. Now, let's get into the bad stuff. The gameplay itself hasn't really improved. It still feels awkward and slippery. At least in Giraffe's case it makes sense, but the biggest problem with the movement is that there's no sense of friction. You could even see it in the cutscenes when the characters move. There's just like, friction doesn't exist in this world. The movement is especially problematic if you're using a keyboard. Yes, it says on the store page that it's recommended you use a controller, but my PS4 controller didn't want to work, so I'm just using a keyboard. And making some of these precise jumps is a nightmare on a keyboard. Now see, Giraffe here was born with slippery feet, so he's just sliding all over the place. And so are you, because you're the one controlling him. Holy shit, do you see that stride? Look how fast he could go. He makes Usain Bolt look slow. There is one section of the game where the movement becomes really problematic, and that's in this section with a bunch of ghosts, and you have to fire a gun at them. Yes, this giraffe can fire a gun, but we'll get into that later. That's a whole can of worms in itself. It's more about pointing the camera than it is really about pressing the keys, though. You can get away just pressing W the entire time, which is, for the most part, what I did. This bridge section was a bit nuts with this movement system, but it was one of my favorite parts of the game. It's very long, but the checkpoints are pretty generous, and you get 5 lives, so it's really not all that bad. I made it through in one go. I already have the video posted. Now, I did mention that one level with the ghosts earlier, and holy fucking hell. I spent 2 full hours on this one level, just completely stumped by it. I mean, this level is ridiculous. I've never hit a brick wall so fast in my entire life, other than here. Everything up to this point was kind of just like, you know, no big deal. It wasn't all that difficult. Then all of a sudden, brick wall, right in your face. Eat shit.
Said the mountains make you nervous, 'cause when you're gone they'll still be around. And if everything has purpose, why am I 10 feet high above the ground, not coming down? I might run away again. Oh my God, you won't say my name again.